Mention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It is a Tuesday edition, as I mentioned. We'll have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show in just a second. Then we'll have Terry Norvelle from the Young and Norvelle Show that he does with Patrick Young. Patrick will be at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill this morning, signing books. You can go listen to their show there as well. If you missed it last night, a couple of NBA series have wrapped up. The Thunder take care of the Pelicans, and the Lakers are done. The defending champs, the Nuggets, take care of them, and then in hockey, the Florida Panthers take care of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Baseball tonight against Florida Atlantic, Conjuring Ballpark. Need to win that game for sure. And then softball at Tallahassee tomorrow night against the Semis. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by Buddy Martin, man from the Buddy Martin Show. Good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Shane. I'm better after last night's fiasco with the computer going up belly up on me while you were on. We didn't get you on last night, but we managed to get on a session after you with Freddie Weeby and friends. We missed you, so we'll have to make that one up. But, yeah, how about I don't know if you watched any of the game. I didn't get a chance to watch it last night. There were lots of rumors about LeBron hanging it up, or leaving the Lakers at least. And so last night when I went to bed, there was a story saying that it was just last night as a Laker. This morning I woke up and I saw a story saying that the Lakers are going to probably agree to sign him for like a 3-year deal and sign his son, Ronnie, for about $50 million or whatever. And they figured to have him. So that's a little bit of a weapon you got right there. So LeBron, not quite ready to hang it up yet. Last night I didn't see it. I heard that Jokic played an entire game without having a foul call. No one fouled him apparently all night. That's hard to believe. Many times he gets hacked. But Nuggets are really fun to watch. Jokic something special. And I think maybe the day is done for LeBron.
Well, I will go out on a limb and tell you this. His son has zero business playing in the NBA right now. I don't know if he'll ever be good enough to play in that league. He wasn't very good playing at USC last year. Didn't play a whole lot, I don't believe. I think he was in the transfer portal.
Was hurt.
So I don't. What's that?
He was injured also. It's hurt.
Okay, well, I don't follow basketball recruiting or that, but the people that I know that do don't think he's good enough to play in the NBA. So
he's certainly not. His talent level is nowhere near his father's, and that's a curse for a young man. But hey, look, if Lakers can get LeBron for 3 more years by signing his son, it's just a $50 million bonus, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But all right, buddy, we haven't spoken with you since the NFL draft came about. Just your thoughts on the NFL draft.
Well, as you know, Shane, I'm not a big follower of the draft. I think it was terrific. Ricky Pearsall got taken in the first round. That's a payoff well-deserved for a guy who gave everything he had, whose worth ethic is sterling, and who made a great impact here. So I'm happy for Ricky. It's hard to believe Florida didn't have any players that got to get drafted, although there were several former Gators who did get drafted who have moved around a bit. So that's today's world. You're not going to get all the ones you started with, and Florida didn't have that many worth keeping. And I don't know whose fault it was. I don't know whether it was Dan Mullen's fault, as some have suggested, or whether maybe Billy didn't do the greatest job in the world on the portal, but he's had 2 first-round draft picks 2 years of guys he brought in. So I think his record's pretty good there. So I didn't watch it. I can't get into the whole Penix thing. I don't know how you feel about that. A lot of Falcon fans are really upset about it. But, this, like it is in recruiting, it's an exact science in terms of what you get. You look at the Hall of Fame players, Shane, there's a whole lot more 5th and 6th rounders in the Hall of Fame than there are 1st and 2nd. So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, the draft is interesting. There's a lot of people. I've had multiple texts to me over the weekend about Florida not having many people drafted. First of all, they were a young football team. as I've been saying for the last 5 or 6 years, the talent is not SEC caliber. And I think that is proven in the last couple of years. This is not a knock on Dan Mullen, okay? But say what you want to say. The only kid that has transferred, I believe, since Billy Napier took over, that got drafted was Tyron Hopper from Missouri, and he was a late pick. Nobody else. And there are multiple kids that have transferred in the last 2 years in college football that are now back in the transfer portal that didn't play a whole lot at their new schools. So I'm like I said, that's not a knock on Dan Mullen. It is what it is, but the talent was not there. I don't care what anybody says. And the one thing that I hope fans, and the thing that I enjoyed the most, and people need to go Google this if they can, whether it's on Twitter or where, but Nick Saban was outstanding during the bits that I watched of the draft.
I heard that.
You know, his thoughts on the players. He was funny. But the one thing that he said that stood out to me, and I firmly believe this, I've always thought it, I never probably said it the way Nick Saban said it. You know, the word about develop, you know, I get so sick and tired of when people say, well, this coach didn't develop him or that coach didn't develop him. There's only so much a coach can do to develop a player. You know, the great ones and the really good players, is the phrase that Saban used was athletic instincts. You cannot teach that. I don't care how big, fast, how far you can jump, all that stuff. If you don't have the athletic instincts in a split second to make a play regarding what sport it is, it's no different than in baseball, buddy. You could have the best swing in the world, just technical swing, fundamentally sound. But if you don't have the eye-hand coordination, or you can't see pitches coming, the spin, all that stuff, who cares? And that's the one thing that coaches cannot teach. You can teach how to backpedal, how to break on the ball, footwork, proper hand placement as a lineman, all that. But when it comes down to a split second of play in your sport, the instincts take over, and those are God-given ability, in my opinion. I think that's what Nick Saban was saying. And, you know, I talk about the Gator baseball team. Everybody says, well, you know, what's wrong with the Gator baseball team? Well, first of all, you lost dudes that have that athletic instinct. The Wyatt Langfords, the shortstop, the two pitchers, B.T. Ryapel, the catcher. I think sometimes people diminish how good of players those people were, and they expect the next person to be that person. Does that make any sense, buddy?
It does make a lot of sense, and I agree 100% on that. It is about athletic instincts. Look, Steve Spurrier was not a great athlete in the sense of speed and strength. He was a tremendous athlete in terms of instincts. Heck of a good basketball player. I think he scored 44 once in the 8th grade. Probably thought it was his best sports. Played for two state championship teams in Tennessee. They had open classification, and he was a heck of a quarterback. He just wasn't very fast, and he wasn't very strong, but he had great instincts. I think that is true. I don't think sometimes coaches put the emphasis on that enough. They want to know his 40 times, what does he bench press, et cetera, and not about his heart and not about his instincts. You're exactly right on that. Speaking of players that transferred, and speaking of the portal, I see where Chief Borders, remember that guy? He was in Florida.
Yeah, there's multiple guys like him.
Yeah, he's now in Nebraska. He's in the portal again. And it got me thinking about an era of a long many years ago before my time, when I heard about it back in the day. Well, I'm talking 30s and 40s, what have you, where they had what they call basically athletic bums or hobos, guys that went to school after school after school, played for various teams, and played into their 20s. You know, matter of fact, I'm not saying Bobby Dodd was one of those. Bobby Dodd played into his 20s, at Georgia Tech. And he, by the way, blocked the extra point that cost Florida the game that year, and they were planning to go to the Rose Bowl. Bobby Dodd, great coach. But, so it's getting back to that time where the flexibility has allowed players to move about, and I'm for that. I think it's good. But at what point did you say when a guy's gone to 5 schools in 5 years, that's a bit much?
Yeah, there's a bunch of dudes like him out there. Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, talking about Saban, his talk about athletic instincts and how that separates kids was pretty good. He said when we can train them for the moment, all we want, they're still going to have to make that decision on the fly and react. Yeah, it's phenomenal. People need to look at it. And he explained it very well.
Can I say one thing about Saban? I wish he'd been that forthcoming in some of his interviews. He said nothing in his interviews. He shared nothing in his interviews. His knowledge of the game is only coming out now. I understand coaches don't like to do that when they're coaching, but boy, wouldn't it have been nice to hear some learned lucid comments from him in the game once in a while instead of just whining and complaining about things. But I'm a big Nick Saban fan. There's no doubt he got his place in history. Looks like, I did not hear him. I hear what you're saying. I hear others have told me the same thing. He's a big asset for game day, and he'll get a big following. So he's in for another career, maybe 10 or 12 or 15 years.
Yeah, he's gonna be really good on that show for sure. Andy said, "Did I see where Michael Leon got a tryout with the Dolphins for a mini camp?" Yeah, I did see that. A lot of that happens throughout the NFL, just so they have arms in camp. So anyway, the reason I'm getting that is, people are really upset with the baseball team, and I get it, but I think it diminishes. I've said this multiple times when it comes back to Florida football. When people complain and want everything to be just like the Spurrier or the Urban era, it almost diminishes how good of coaches those guys were because they're Hall of Famers. And
right.
Not everybody can coach the way they coach. I mean, if that was the case, every school in America would have these Hall of Fame coaches. And there's only a handful of schools that have had them. And so do we all want the top players at every position, the top coaches? Yes, but they're a dime or dozen. And so I don't know why I got off on that today, but
well, you're absolutely
I just
right.
Thought it was interesting.
You're absolutely right on that. I remember I was working in Denver and covering the Nuggets. They didn't have Jokic back then, by the way, but they would just say, "Well, go find a 7'3" center," like they're falling off the back of turnip trucks. These guys don't come along.
Well,
and it's
right,
just like
but there are some 7'3" centers out there that can't play dead in the Western.
Of course.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah. So we got a text here on the Titan MR text line. Not sure who it's from. It says, "Ask Buddy if he thinks the Gators will win 5 more baseball games this year."
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know what this. I keep expecting this team to reach down and get something and find something. I mean, it's too bad because Caglione has had a fantastic year. He's probably the better player than your friend Brad Wilkerson, although Wilkerson was a wonderful player. His stats are amazing.
He's better than him.
I just read this. He leads the Gators in batting at 404, slugging 871, on base percentage 502, hits 69, RBI 53, runs 50, and total bases 149. He's walked nearly twice as much as he struck out. He's also 5-0 on the mound with a 4.1 ERA. So that's amazing. By the way, they won the last game on the weekend. And I understand the opposing coach considered the possibility of walking a run in when Caglione was batting with the bases loaded. He said the guy's such a great hitter. When you start walking a guy with the bases loaded, you're a heck of a hitter. So he's been a fantastic player. You brought it up last week. I'll keep bringing it up. When do you decide when a baseball player might be worthy of a statue? Now, probably his career professionally will influence that. But what if he is Babe Ruth? What an amazing career he's had in Florida.
Yeah, I think Florida does win 5 games. They honestly, if we could have hit the baseball, we would have won that series. Pitching was probably the best of the year against Arkansas. They come home, they got Tennessee. They got to win tonight against Florida Atlantic, but I think they do.
What's the schedule? I don't know who they got left.
We got Tennessee.
Yeah.
Then we go to Georgia, which Georgia's kids hit more home runs. They have a kid that's hit more home runs than Cags.
Right.
I saw the other day A&M it was like watching the old church league softball. They had four out. They put one of their infielders in the outfield when he came up to bat. So they had four guys in the outfield, and he just it didn't matter. He hit it over the scoreboard. Yeah, he's a great player.
I would say I'm gonna go with no on the 5 wins.
Okay. Well, that means they won't make the tournament then.
Well, they might not.
Concrete builds firm foundation for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. We got Buddy Martin here on the Titan More Hotline. This is a text from Chris in Mayaca. He says, "Good morning, Shane. What are your thoughts on LeBron's comments about losing in the playoffs? It's just basketball. I don't understand why there's a conversation that he is the best ever. He is content in just collecting a check and losing. Jordan would have never said that. LeBron is part of the entitled NIL generation." I didn't see the comments. I don't watch a lot of NBA. I definitely don't. The only thing I love about the NBA, and people have to go on Twitter and look at this, the TNT show with Shaq, Charles, Ernie Johnson, and Kenny Smith is must-see TV. It is the funniest stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah, I love it.
Charles Barkley's conversations about San Antonio, Galveston, Texas, this last week will have you rolling on the floor. It's so damn funny. So make sure you go look at that.
Yeah, he's alienated the whole city of San Antonio, apparently.
All right, I don't know what this means right here. This is from 252. Says, big time in big games, he at least is tied for first on that list from last week, Rocket Ishmael. No idea what he's talking about.
I have no idea.
Random text.
No.
Yeah. So, all right, buddy. So you don't think the Gators are going to win?
Well, I don't have a strong opinion about it. I haven't studied the schedule, but if you ask me a question right now, whether they're playing, if they'll win 5 based on their recent performance, I'd say no. But they got to make the tournament. If they make the tournament, yes. If they don't, no. How about
buddy, they can't. They have to have a winning record to make the tournament.
Right. Meaning,
if they don't have a winning
record, above 500.
They have to be above 500 to make the NCAA tournament.
Well, they could possibly
if they don't. All right, so here's what we got. We got 3 games against Tennessee. We got Florida Atlantic
There's
tonight,
2 losses right there.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
We got USF here next Tuesday. Then we got Kentucky for 3 games and Georgia for 3 games. We will win 5 games.
That's a possibility with that many games. But I said to you, Shane, I hate to say I told you so. You can't keep losing those midweek games like that. You just can't do
it. Buddy, normally it doesn't matter. But
it does
the way
this
the
year.
Is going, you're right. But here's the bottom line. They got 11 games left. You win 5, like the guy said. Right now they sit at 22 and 21. As long as they have a record over 500, they will be in the NCAA
So
tournament.
they got to win 6 games. Right?
Yeah, 5. Well, really 5 or 6. Yeah, 5.
Well, they have 11 games. If
will.
they won 5, they're going to lose more than they win. That won't be a winning record.
Well, maybe if you're at 500, you get in. I'm not sure. Somebody can let us know.
Yeah,
I don't follow enough of it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Shane, have you ever heard of a guy? Have you heard of Mark Daniel?
Yeah.
I don't know if I pronounced it right or not.
NBA Coach of the Year. NBA Coach of the Year for the Oklahoma City
Coach
Thunder.
Billy.
Billy, yep.
Patrick Young apparently.
You weren't aware of that, buddy?
Say again?
Yeah, he was in Florida.
Yes, correct. He was. Patrick Young says, I'll be having dinner tonight with Patrick and my friend Tom Ingram and Freddie at Spurger's Gridiron Grill. Had a fabulous meal there on my birthday Friday night, birthday party. Going back tonight to meet with Patrick. As you say, he's having a book signing this morning. We're having dinner after the baseball game today. And he made comments that Mark Daniel was a graduate assistant under Donovan, about 4 years. He was and is to this day the most introspective and thoughtful human being I've ever met. So that's pretty good praise. Just named Coach of the Year. Let's freaking go. That was Patrick's text or X this morning. So
Tyler asked here, did you count Anthony Richardson among the Mullen recruits? He was not in the draft this year, Tyler. We were talking about this year's draft.
Yeah. Hey, Shane, I know you got to have
another thing.
Say again.
this is he brings up Anthony, so it brought back something that somebody asked me the other day on another show, and these quarterback coaches, these like that's what they do for a living,
right?
It cracks me up when they take responsibility for these kids. Not so much responsibility, but like they had a whole lot to do.
They take credit for it, Shane.
Well, they shouldn't, because look, they don't talk about the 98% of the kids that they train that don't even play high school ball.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Buddy, your wife could coach some of these kids how to throw a football. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it just blows my mind. But Ryan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, I'm a huge Billy fan, but hands down, the hire should have been Lane Kiffin. However, I think the administration wanted to hire a yes man and not a guy who would raise hell when the UA doesn't give the support they should. However, there isn't a coach out there right now as close to Spurrier than Lane. I agree with them being alike, but Lane's done some stuff in some game type situations that would blow your mind, dude.
Wait, he's comparing him to Spurrier? Who is he comparing him to?
Yeah, I mean, he's close. I think he's talking about he's comparing Lane to Spurrier because of how, Lane's not afraid to say what's on his mind.
Lane is a cheap imitation of Steve Spurrier. Okay, let's get that straight right away. No way.
Michael says he went to the Arkansas series and we had a chance to sweep. Yes, we did. We got in our own way. Starting pitch, he did everything to keep us in the game. Base running errors, bad bunt, untimely pitching got us. Need two more pitchers to step up. Yeah, like I said, I thought the pitching was good enough to win the series.
It was. They got to hit pitch and hit at the same time. That's for sure. Hey, Shane, you've been following the golf scene, I'm sure. All the LIV stuff going on. And I thought Brandel Chambly, who I think is a very good commentator, he's a smart guy, knows the game. I love his conversations at the majors. And he talked about the comparison of Nelly Korda and Scotty Scheffler. Listen to this. They competed against a combined 1,127 players. Nelly 618, Scotty 509. Nelly has beat them all, and Scotty has lost to just one player in one event by one shot. Neither is dominating in their length off the tee, and Scotty is ranked 80th in driving distance. I didn't know that. And Nelly 33rd, but both are leading their tours in greens and regulation and dominating with their irons. Distance helps, of course, but the best players, just as they always have, continue to separate themselves with their iron play. What do you think of that, Shane?
I agree. I think Scotty Scheffler is the best iron player that's ever played on the PGA Tour from a ball striking standpoint. Nelly Korda, I've watched her play a little bit. I've seen her swing. She might have the most sound golf swing I've ever seen. There's golf people that know way more about the golf swing than I do, but hers is perfect. And she is a stud. She's only like 25 too. She's very good. Have you ever watched her play, buddy?
I have watched her swing. She does have a great swing, yes. I have not watched her compete, but watched her play a little bit. I have not watched the whole tournament. But I know she's a talented player. And many times the women have the best swings. Their tempo and everything is just so smooth, for whatever reason. Although I just saw a video of Ernie Els' swing since he was 19 all the way through. His swing hasn't changed a bit all those years. I've known Ernie since he first started, and his swing is so beautiful. It was then, it was now, which is why he won a couple of Opens,
Yeah, the Big Easy. He can swing at him, Fred Couples. Both of them have tremendous tempo in their golf swings. Buddy, speaking of golf, I don't know if you watched any of the team event in New Orleans this week. The Northern Islanders, Shane Lowry and Lori win the tournament. Then they pound beers with the fans, sing a little Journey. Did you see all that?
I saw some. They acted like LIV players, but they were having fun. I was happy for the Irish to have a good time.
That's kind of what I thought. I was like, this is kind of like what the Live does. But Billy Horschel tweeted, because he's won that event twice. And he says that's something that's a tradition that the winners, whether it was an individual or team event, would always go back to that tent and drink and party with the fans. So that's the first time I saw it. But he said he can. That's what they do. I thought it was pretty cool, quite honestly.
Interesting, yeah. Interaction with the fans. They could do a better job on that. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. We got a text here on the Titan MR text line. We got a bunch of texts. I'm just picking a few out here. Oh, they were talking about the one we were talking about last week on your show about the most exciting players in college football. That's what that text was about. That Rocket Ishmael should have been on there.
Okay. Well, I didn't write that list. Somebody else wrote it. I didn't like the list personally. The one that was left over there was Johnny Rodgers, I saw him play. He would be in my top 10. Johnny Rodgers was an amazing football player in Nebraska.
He was for sure. All right, buddy, who you got on your program tonight?
Well, I'm not going to be on my program tonight. Brendan Martin is hosting with Rob Brown. He'll be on with also Lauren Meadows and the gang. So they'll be doing it. I'm going to be up there with Patrick doing our thing at Spurs Ground Grill. So we're back tomorrow night with Allie Pete Wilbur, arguably the best female podcaster in this part of the country, and David Bolton, the guys, and Scott Carter will be on tomorrow night. So we're catching up, taking the night, and going to celebrate with Patrick on his book, and then back at it tomorrow, Shane.
Okay, and then Robert on the Titan MR text line, brought to you by Titan MR, wants to know, buddy, out of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round, which ones do you think will be a bust?
A bust? I have no idea. That depends on a lot of things. It depends on if it's a right fit with the team and the offense and the coach. It depends on, whether he gets hurt. I don't know that I would say anybody would pick to be a bust. A lot of people don't like the Penix pick. You like it, I think. I don't know. There were a lot of them, 6 pick, right? I don't think any of them will be bust. Yeah. Some will be better than others, but this is not quite the year. What was it, 83? And they had all those guys Elway in that bunch. They had it was terrific talent that year. But I don't think which one would you pick, Shane?
Going to be a bust?
Yeah.
I think the first 3 guys drafted have a chance to be good players in that league. The other 3, I'm not sure about. About. The great stat that Mike Morgan.
They might be playing. What's the bust? Not getting cut or not playing. I don't know. If you can be a backup quarterback, I know a guy who did. I played in the league 12 years. That's a pretty good gig. That's probably a bust.
But you can. Yeah, but that I wasn't drafted, so that I was definitely not. That's a bust. True. But if you're a first-round pick and you end up being a backup, you're a bust.
Well, that's a good point.
The thing about this, buddy, in 2021, there were 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. 5. Mm-hmm. Only 1 is still with their team that drafted them. Trevor Lawrence. All the other ones have been moved. Trevor Lawrence is the only one.
Yeah, well, sometimes quarterbacks come back and have a second life, as we have seen. Sometimes when they're 5 or 6 years older. They do come back and play occasionally. So I can't say anybody got drafted in the first round unless they get cut, in my opinion, is not a bust, but maybe just not as good a player as others.
Yeah. Okay. All right, buddy. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Shane. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by Terry Norvelle from the Young and Norvelle Show. He's heading over to Spurs Gridiron Grill for a big day. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union.
Comfort Temp, Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Dave & Buster's Eat, Drink, Play, Watch. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker Sporting Goods. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. And go back to the Titan MR hotline. We're joined by Terry Norvelle, the host of the Young and Norvelle Show over in Jax. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Shane, what's going on?
Not much. First of all, before we get into some sports talk about the Jaguars, I'm going to ask you about their draft.
Okay.
Tell me, what time y'all going on the air at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill? We had Patrick on Friday, but he'll be over there this morning signing books, correct?
Yeah, he's ready to go. We're both in different cars heading over. We'll be at we do our show in Jacksonville on the ESPN station. We're from 11 a.m. to 1. So we're going to do our show just normal, set up at Spurrier's 11 to 1 today. And Pat will have a bunch of books. You can come by Spurrier's probably, 10:30-ish. We'll probably be set up and all. And, you may either have one book now or grab a book if you want. And Pat will be happy to, autograph it there, sign it, personalize it a little bit. So we're just going to have fun, kind of do the show, and he'll be on and off and shaking hands, and I'm sure taking a lot of photos. But he's really excited about this. He has not been to Spurrier's. And Shane, if I can tell a quick story, amazing. If I can tell a quick story, this was about a month ago on our show. We're messing around, normal show, and I was wearing my I got a white, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill visor. So that day I just happened to have it on about a month ago during our show. And I said, Patrick, man, you like my visor? Yeah. He said, oh, man, it's nice. And he said, on the air, we were talking about on the air, and he said, man, I've never been to Spurrier's. Well, that made it back somehow to Freddie Weeby. And Shane, Freddie was not happy. Freddie reached out to me, and I'm still not sure how I got in trouble for Patrick never being to Spurrier's, but Freddie said, no, we got to fix that. So we kind of said, well, why not do it, a couple birds with one stone, and Patrick does a lot of speaking. He does a lot of book signing, and he's excited. I'm excited. It'll be a lot of fun today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, that's you can head over there about 10:30 or 11. He'll be signing books, and then they'll go on the air around 11 o'clock. You can hang out. I know Patrick. Yeah. I think Patrick's coming back in the evening for when they open up for supper time.
He's Shane. Real quick, he's going to stay. He's going to stay and go to some of the baseball games. The baseball games, I think, kind of early today. So he's going to go over to the baseball park, and and hang out, watch a little baseball, or say hi to some baseball people, and then he's going to come back to Spurrier's about 6:30ish and grab dinner, and he hopes to have some books still, and a kind of a second meet and greet. So yeah, that's correct.
Very cool, Terry. So the draft. I want to get your thoughts on Ricky Pearsall going to the 49ers.
He went higher than I thought. I love him. I mean, what's not to like about him? Went a little higher than I thought. I thought he would be a second round. He and McConkey, kind of the same guy. I thought they'd both be kind of second round guys. I'm ecstatic for him, and he goes to a polished team. He doesn't have to be the one. They've got such good receivers. I think he's going to catch a lot of passes in that league for a long time.
Yeah, I can't agree. I agree totally with that. When you look at the Jaguars over there, I know y'all covered the Jags quite a bit. Did you like their draft?
Sure. To a degree, I was saying for the month leading into the draft, and I'm no expert on football, but I think they need to go big. I knew they were going to go small. When I say small, wide receiver or defensive back, I think they need to go big, man. I'm still not at all sold on their lines of scrimmage. I know they brought in a couple of guys. They brought in a couple of guys on each side. The center from Buffalo, Morse, and then Armstead, obviously. Those guys are good players. They're in their 30s, Shane. That's what concerns me. It's a young man's game. I like Brian Thomas, the player. I just don't like the position, taking him first. I would have gone big, man. I think they need help. And then, Shane, you look at the Jaguars, they've got a lot of cuts. They don't have as many Band-Aids as they have cuts. They kind of addressed wide receiver a little bit, obviously with Gabe Davis. If I'm the Jaguars, man, I would be looking and saying, hey, we can't fix everything. We don't have enough Band-Aids for every cut we've got. We got to be judicious and hey, take a flyer on hoping Gabe Davis is the guy. Take a flyer on a couple guys because you got other areas. I'm concerned about their lines of scrimmage and their secondary. I know they made some free agent moves in their secondary. I don't like what they did at all. They better hope one of those two cornerbacks, at least one of those guys, plays probably bigger than his draft. What did they draft a guy? Third and fifth, I think. They got the guy from FSU third round, and the guy from Ole Miss fifth round. They better hope one of those guys hits. And they're really, really, really counting on Tyson Campbell to stay healthy. He's a good player, but man, he missed a lot of time last year.
Yeah. Out of the quarterbacks, the 6 taken in the first round, which one do you think is going to have the best start to his career? And do you think any of those guys are going to be bust?
Well, yeah, I want to start on the other end, man. And you're the quarterback, not me. And we may disagree like crazy. There's one guy I just don't – I don't know what happened between the end of the football season, college football season, and the draft. I don't see it in J.J. McCarthy. Just as an NFL quarterback, I don't think he throws the ball well enough. Hell of an athlete, a scrapper, but I don't see it. And that one surprised me. You knew it was going to happen. For some reason, his stock took off. It's really neat to see where Bo Nix was and where he finished up college. But I'm not sold on Bo Nix being an NFL really successful quarterback either. I've always liked Drake May. I know that North Carolina offense and Mac Brown's MO is his teams and his offenses. They're week to week, man. Some weeks they throw it for 600 yards, and then the next week they get beat by a bad Georgia Tech team. But yeah, the two guys that went high in that quarterback, I just don't buy it with McCarthy especially.
No, I agree. When you look at Daniels, Drake May, and Caleb Williams, I think those three guys, we've seen them produce at the collegiate level.
Sure.
And I feel like they're going to be good players. But I'm with you, McCarthy. Very, very serious question marks for me. Bo Nix, I know he played better in Oregon, but every quarterback plays good in the Oregon system.
Sure.
I don't see it. So time will tell. Somebody had a question on Facebook Live brought to you by Melton Law. Andy wants to know, Terry, what's the latest on the Jags' new stadium Right
now it's quiet, but the new mayor and the whole council, they're hashing it out. They're really struggling with where to go. And, Gainesville plays a little bit in that. Florida Field's going to get some renovations soon. The Jaguars are really struggling about where they're going to play if you have to miss games in the stadium in Jacksonville. And there's just not a lot of good options. And it's kind of weird, here's Florida Field and the Jaguar Stadium kind of overlapping each other time-wise. So that Gainesville's the best place to get the deal done, and I think it's going to get done. The finances will work themselves out. They seem to always work themselves out in the NFL. But, Shane, it's just an awkward and I still haven't gotten a great answer on some of these stadiums. They seem to be able to build from scratch in 10 months, and then some of them, they say it's going to take, 2.5 years in 5 phases. I don't know that construction world, but yeah, it's kind of a sticky wicket right now. If they can't play in Jacksonville, where do they go?
Yeah, it is strange because I know whoever built Texas, it works at Texas A&M because they build structures very, very fast out there in College Station. That's who they need to go hire.
Yeah.
All right, before we get you out of here, I know you're a baseball guy. Gator baseball been a rough year. They sit at one game over 500 right now. They have 11 regular season games left.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you follow this. To make the NCAA tournament, do they have to have a 500 record or be better than 500 to get in?
I think it is at 500. I'm glad you went to Gator baseball because I see signs of life. I see a few signs of life of this team. Finally, I think there's talent there. I feel for Sully. He has tried to plug in and move around and shake it up. With the big lefty coming back, the big lefty pitcher, and I know they're working, Coppola, I think is how you pronounce his name, the big guy, and I know they're working him in. They're trying to stretch his innings out. That could really change things. You add a quality weekend guy this late in the season, that could change the dynamic. And, they probably should have won the series in Fayetteville. I mean, they outscored, I don't know if you realize, they outscored Arkansas over 3 games, 14-11. They had a bad base running blunder. But that was nice that they went out and got that Sunday win or that third game win. You look around at Florida, what a weird season. Hell, Texas A&M's number 1 team in the nation. The Gators have a series win over those guys. And they've got a couple series wins over some pretty good programs. I think there's still a little bit of life in that Gator baseball team. Don't bury them yet.
Yeah, they have the number 1 hardest schedule in all of America. When you look at how the baseball season's going, there's a lot of parallels to how Gator football went. You lose games you probably shouldn't have lost, and that's kind of how baseball's gone so far this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. And not that he's not getting the publicity, but man, if they were sitting at 3rd or 4th in the country, Caglione will be getting even more publicity. The year he's putting, and I know I jump topics on you, but the year he's putting together, I'm running through my mind in terms of best college baseball seasons in the history of the state of Florida. And I mean, Pat Burrell at Miami had some monster years, and Buster Posey, J.D. Drew at Florida State, Brad Wilkerson, some of the great Gators. I mean, this season he's having is just ungodly. It's just ridiculous what he's doing in Caglione.
Yeah, it is. And, he's still got a chance to win the National Player of the Year, in my opinion, and SEC Player of the Year. I think it's going to come down to that last series in Athens. It could be him pitching against the kid that hits for Georgia.
Shane, you're all over that. That series is in Athens, right? And that's the final regular season series, as you said. And it might just turn into to hell with the teams. Let's just have a good old-fashioned home run derby here. See what happens, right?
Yeah.
And you remember that guy? That guy can really hit too. That Condon kid for Georgia he can really hit. I've gone to 1 baseball game in the new park, and it was last year against Georgia, Florida, Georgia, first game of a series. Wild game, and I think he hit 1 in that game. That was the game where I've never seen this. There were 3 grand slams hit in the game. Florida hit 2 and lost the game. I don't know how you do that, but Georgia hits the long ball too, man. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I was mentioning earlier with Buddy. He didn't see it, but I saw I think it was this weekend. Georgia played A&M. He came to the plate, and it looked like the old softball, church league softball. They took one of their infielders, and they had 4 outfielders, and it didn't matter because he just blasted it over the scoreboard. Have you ever seen that in college baseball?
Occasionally, and they were hoping that they knew he was going to hit a seed. They were just hoping he was going to hit a seed that only went about 5 feet in the air and at one of those guys. He can hit it, man. Both of them got unlimited power, and they're going to be both high draft choices. They're going to be both high contention for the player of the year. Enjoy Caglione, man. That is a special year he's having, man.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. All right, Terry, appreciate you joining the program. Let everybody know one more time all the times to be at Spurrier's today to see Patrick and y'all's show.
Yeah, the show is live 11 to 1. We're set up in Spurrier's from 11 to 1. You can get there, 30 minutes or so ahead. We'll hang out afterwards. Patrick will be there doing the show. When he needs to, he'll sign books. He'll take pictures. It's just going to be a fun time, Spurrier's. That's today, 11 to 1. Then this evening, Patrick will be back after he goes to the baseball park. Patrick will come back to Spurrier's this evening about 6:30. He's going to have dinner so Freddie doesn't get mad at him or me anymore. And he'll have books. He helps and take pictures. So kind of a Patrick Young day at Spurrier's. I'm just glad to be around it.
Awesome. Good stuff as always, my friend. Travel safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.
That's Terry Norvelle. Join us on the Titan number hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service by providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. Again, I want to thank Buddy and Terry for joining us again. I hate repeating it, but go see Patrick Young. Just inspirational young man, one of the nicest guys you'll meet. Get his book, have him sign it, take some pictures. Should be a great day there at Spurrier's today. I got to get to a couple of these texts real quick. Well, let's go ahead and get to This Day in Sports. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. This Day in Sports back in, oh my gosh, it went away on me again. This was back in, I don't know why when I go to it and it just disappears. Anyway, it was Bruce Smith was the first pick of the draft for the Buffalo Bills. He was a teammate of mine when we were with the Redskins. Good dude, tremendous pass rusher. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Let me get to this Facebook Live here I wanted to get to before we get out of here. Tim says the pitching is very young. Who is this guy? I don't know who he's referring to. Pitching is young. They pitched well enough to win the series against Arkansas. It's been hit or miss when it comes to pitching so far this year. But I think the baseball team is playing much better. As we said, they got 11 games left, a series against Tennessee, Kentucky, and Georgia, with midweek games against Florida Atlantic and South Florida. So they need to win 5 or 6 of those. I think they can. Won't be easy, but just got to put it all together. But the team has been playing much, much better this week. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go visit them at peachlanddental.com. We'll have some golf picks tomorrow for you folks. And that will probably do it for today's program. Have a great day, folks, and take care.